You know, whatever, Liam, about the attitude of the Galway players and management, I know from talking to the people from the West, they're not exactly bullish about their chances today.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't really blame them. I mean, you know, as you said, 14 out of 15 times that they've come out here, they've won the Bob O'Keefe Cup. So, you know, I think there's always going to be an air of nervousness with any team playing such, I guess, great champions like Kilkenny. And, you know, they'd come again today. I mean, they were very, very impressive in that semi-final. But in fairness to Galway, they've been building nicely. They've got 2 nice victories under their belt. Maybe could have done with a little bit more of a sterner test again Offaly. I think they will be a little bit disappointed that the game was over very, very early for them. So they haven't been really been tested. But, you know, they have shown that they are making progress. So I think today will be a real measure in terms of where Galway hurling is at. Well,
sure, if we got a game, anything like the one we saw in Ennis last night between Clare and Dublin, we'd be very happy. You were there with that. That was great entertainment.
Well, you know, if you're to give an explanation as to why places like Clare, you know, why hurling has survived in places like Clare, despite their relative lack of success. Last night was a perfect example. You know, if you ignore the quality and just think of the excitement.
Championship.
Well, I suppose, Michael, I mean, everything points towards Kilkenny, you know, and I mean, we've seen over the last number of years, I mean, even when they get to a semi-final or final stage, they never take the foot off the pedal. And even the last day against Kilkenny or against Dublin and Portlaoise, I mean, the game was over as a contest 10 or 15 minutes into the game, but they never let up. They made substitutions towards the end of the game to keep fellas on their toes. They brought in the likes of Noel Hickey, and fellas are wondering why isn't there a younger man coming into the Kilkenny team today. JJ Delaney is out as Noel Hickey, and I believe in training, Noel Hickey has been marking Owen Larkin below there, and he hasn't given him a puck of the ball during training sessions. So he's back in there on merit. And look at all the All-Ireland medals he has on his chest, right, coming into a Leinster final campaign, and people maybe said he was finished.
Mentioning results, by the way, lads, we've been putting them up on the screen there. Your own county, of course, have won the Munster Football Championship, beating Clare this afternoon. And before that, Liam, the Tip minor football team beat Kerry 2-14 to match at Croke Park. They've both been talking to Joanne Cantwell.
You've had injury problems. How has that hampered you? Has it affected you in any way?
Yeah, we've had injuries since the Dublin match. Our training certainly has been curtailed for a lot of the players, and obviously, you know, we don't have everybody available to us today. But that's part and parcel of the game. That happens all the time.
Will it affect you, do you think, today?
Well, I mean, we have 15 players starting, 15 players we have confidence in, so we're not looking at it like that at all.
Well, Anthony, are there a few nerves in that dressing room now?
Not really, you know, we're very calm, really. You know, you can't be overhyped, really. We're well in control and the guys are well up for it, and we're expecting a huge performance from Galway.
I presume one of the keys when you're playing Kilkenny is to make sure you don't let any early goals in. So how do you go about doing that?
Well, we'd also focus on our own game and, you know, keep tight to the back. Would be the same no matter who you're playing. We'd always be tight at the back, and we'd be pushing on, opening up space up front. So, as I said, we're you know, it's the same as any match for us, really. Bigger stakes today, of course, and it's Kilkenny, and who better to play than them? And we want to test ourselves against them, and we're really looking forward to it. And I think there's a huge performance in Galway.
Yeah, the thoughts of Brian.
Any team seeking their 8th Leinster title in a row and the 69th provincial title for their county. JJ Delaney is out with a broken finger, which means 3 times All-Star Noel Hickey gets the call-up. No Michael Fennelly, no Michael Rice, means a centre-field combination we don't often see of Cillian Buckley and Paddy Hogan. In contrast to their opponents, Galway are chasing their very first Leinster title, and like Kilkenny have just one change in their lineup. David Collins returns after injury and takes his place in a defence that has conceded 7 goals and 27 points in 2 matches. Irla Tanyan and Andy Smith's performance in the middle of the field is crucial. He's been in the national panel since 1998, but this is his very first senior Leinster title. Game is on. Leinster final of 2012, with Galway winning the toss. There is no win, there is a slight miss, as I said, but they're going to try and score down as much as possible down at that canal end. As Kilkenny get into their stride earlier, Cillian Buckley trying to lay it off under a little bit of pressure from David Collins, returning from injury. Gathering it here is Paddy Hogan, dispossessed however by Conor Cooney, scored 2 cracking goals in the semi-final, dropping in. David Herity is under a bit of pressure, and the referee's whistle is blown, and he's given a free out to David Herity. But a slippery ball right under the crossbar, but the goalkeeper did really well.
Well, he did well, and you know, David Burke came in on top of him there, Marty, and he held the ball out, but attacking Kilkenny a little bit.
Batted down by Andy Smith. Tommy Walsh coming forward under pressure. Gathering it here is Niall Burke, under 21 star of last year. And what about that for a start? Wonderful strike, really good score for the Tribesmen. They're up and running.
Yeah, and a little uncharacteristic error there by Tommy Walsh. Lost the ball, won it from the puck out, lost it, and Niall Burke with a great score from out the field. And that, every chance they get, if they can knock it over the bar, that will give them a little bit of confidence and they'll settle them down a little bit.
Puck out by David Herity. Kilkenny going forward. Ball comes free for Irla Tanya. Slither on the hurl. Takes it forward. The finish will be a disappointment. A good team like this, you cannot concede goals too early.
No, Marty, and we sat here in the past, a ball like that from the Italian with a talent like Joe, with Joe Talent inside. Surely the thing is to feed him as early as you can into Joe Canning.
And it is down by Joe Canning! What a start! What a goal! Long ball from Irla Tanya down to Big Joe Canning from Portumna. Deep ball, great hands by Canning, unstoppable. A brilliant start by the tribesmen. Look at it from every angle, any angle, and pick it out of the back of the Kilkenny net.
Yeah, and Joe, Marty, it is interesting to see that Jackie Turtle has moved into full back, as he did, we say, on Lark Corbett and last year's final, and Noel Hickey's in the left corner. So that will be a plus for Joe Canning if they can feed him enough ball right. Jackie Turtle is more at home in the corner, so that will give Galway a fierce boost.
Andy Smith trying to get away from O'Larkin, half blocked. Ball into space. 2 years ago when these teams met in the Leinster final, at the very start of the game, within the first 2.5 minutes of this Leinster final. It's the start that Galway could only wish for. Canning laying it off. Far as Niall Burke on the turn, and it's all Galway in Croke Park. It's his second point of the match.
Yeah, great score there by Niall Burke. But what was interesting about that, Marty, is Galway moving the ball short. They're committing then the Kilkenny players to come in on 1-on-1s, and they're moving the ball, and that's an excellent point again for Niall Burke, his second of the game. David Collins has also moved out to right half back, and Fergal Moore's across in the right corner, so a couple of switches we'll get to them later on.
Galway have done to Kilkenny what Kilkenny like to do to their opponents. And at the moment, Galway are rocking and rolling here in Croke Park, and it's Joe Canning moving out from the full forward line, stepping by Brian Hogan, giving it inside to Burke. That central axis of Burke and Canning posing problems in the early stages for Kilkenny. And the Cats, their cage may be rattled, but I'm sure they'll settle very quickly. Sideline ball favours Galway. 1-2 Fitzgibbons in his younger days with LIT, as that ball is dropped in. Ball is dropped. Slippery ball with that mist just falling around 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in Dublin. Ball breaks free. Over for is Damien Hayes. Just misjudged the shot, and it is Galway's second wide of the
good tackling, ball lost there, and once it came to Damien Hayes, possibly he should have taken on the man.
puck out from David Herity, comes down again from Irla Tanya, who's getting on an mounted ball in the middle of the field. Many people in Galway feel he's better around that central field area because it gives them a lot of space. Ball blocked down. Conor Cooney scored 2 cracking goals in the semi-final against Offaly. Back there is Tommy Walsh. Second time he's hooked. Walsh hits, pushed by the corner forward from Galway. Cooney focused. The word that was being used around the dressing room was intensity and passion. And certainly they have brought it to the table. They've brought it to the pitch after 6.5 minutes, leading by 5 points. Johnny Coe, Lochraima, corner back in the 2009 minor All-Ireland winning team. Tommy Walsh floats it in. David Collins battling with Owen Lark. Coming forward is Tony O'Gregan. Misses it the first time through to the hook. On the floor is Colin Fennelly. Referee's whistle is blown. He's going to give a throw ball. Fennelly slowly getting to his feet. But you have to say, Donald, from a Galway perspective,
forward play, and they made a few switches, as I said. Johnny Cohen come back in the corner, Fergal Moore's in the right corner, and David Collins is out in the wing.
There's a bit of afters going on here, and some of the Kilkenny players didn't like that Irla Tanya seemed to get entangled with Conal Fennelly as he was hitting the ball. We might be able to see it again in a moment.
Not going to let anything go, and we're going to, front up and face up to Kilkenny and see how good they are.
Tanyan again gets a touch. Far as Tony O'Gregan. Sprays it over towards Joe Canning. Jackie Tyrrell just got a slight little touch to it just to put him off a little bit. And Tyrrell drives it down in front of the Hogan stand. Galway first to the ball. This occasion, Fergal Moore just loses possession. Picked up by Richie Hogan. Trying to get away. Look at where Joe Canning is. Dispossessing Richie Hogan. And Galway counter-attack. Down towards Conor Cooney. Nice stick work. Showed a little bit too much to the 3 times All-Star. Noel Hickey from Dunnamaggin. Long ball down towards Andy Smith. Comes away with it, however, is Johnny Cohen. Gives it plenty of air. Underneath it again is Cooney. Hickey just beaten to it on this occasion. Nice pick-up indeed by Richie Doyle. Chased by Niall Burke. Doyle hand passes it. Well gathered on this occasion by Killian Buckley to Fenlon. In comes Tanyan with a hefty challenge. And again. And they have continued their little argy-bargy, to use Donald O'Grady's word that started a while ago. The referee's whistle was blown. It's a free for Kilkenny.
Yeah, and the free there was nothing wrong with the tackle, but you saw the little tug on the shirt and he could well open his account.
Almost 10 minutes gone in this first half. First scoring opportunity for Kilkenny wasted by Shefflin. And look at the way the Galway players are reacting. Talk about intensity, talk about self-belief and indeed passion. Galway have it all in abundance. It's not often we see on our television screens 10 minutes gone. Kilkenny, no score. Galway 1-2. Damien Hayes thought about going left, went right instead, along the sideline. Gathering here is Cyril Donnelly. Nicely hooked. Back there is the Kilkenny captain O'Larkin. Goes forward first, TJ Reid. Scored a cracking goal against Dublin. Ball rebounds first, David Burke. The hand passes a poor one. Hickey gets to it first. It comes first, Hayes. Right in front of the Hogan is dropping in, and it's an easy ball for David Herity. Goalkeeper. He may have been well defended and protected over the last number of seasons, David Herity, and indeed PJ Ryan before him. But you sense that Galway are going to test this Kilkenny defence today. David Collins might be playing at right half back, but he goes back into a corner back position. Nice stick work by Tony O'Gregan. Sends it down the sideline. Ups. David Hayes, Damien Hayes.
Roving out, Joe Canning is roving out of time, so they're really asking questions of the Kilkenny defence.
Poor sideline ball from Paddy Hogan. Sent down by Irla Tanyan. In the centre, it's Brian Hogan. Powerful centre half back. Andy Smith. Running forward and pulled down is Niall Donoghue. Donoghue is a young man that is a natural fullback and in time probably will wear the number 3 jersey for his county. That's where he won an under-21 All-Ireland medal. Ball is sent in towards Joe Canning. Lovely little touch, lovely little flick up and taken out of it by Jackie Tyrrell, and that is a free in for Galway. This is going to be a different day, one senses, for Joe Canning. Look at the stick work here, tried to flick it up high. Tyrrell came in with the frontal charge, raising up his prospects. Joe Canning, 20-metre line. It's over the bar. 13 minutes gone. In the first half, it's Galway 1-3. Leinster and All-Ireland Galway. Puck out from David Herity. Can they maintain it? Can Kilkenny respond? Knocked down by Fergal Moore. Damien Hayes laying it off as Andy Smith. The Portumna combination running forward. Coming into challenges Hogan. Taken down. And it's interesting what Andy Smith decided to do to tear into a different gear, up it and run at the Kilkenny defence. And this was Hogan's response.
Yeah, Marty, when you look at that again, I mean, James McGrath, the referee, has been very lenient, I think, with Brian Hogan. He's just merely spoken to him there, no tick. That normally turns up as a yellow card. I think he's giving him a little tick now, but just explaining that's on him. But normally that's a straight yellow card, and by running straight at defenders, it's very difficult for any defence to cope with that.
Canning once more. It's an easy one for a man with a range of skills.
One and subsequently lost it, and they've lost each and every one of them since then, so it's giving Galway a platform and a half back line to build their attacks.
TJ Reid and Tony O'Gregan. Regan comes out with the ball, slither in hand, lays it off quickly. Nipping in, however, is Richie Hogan. Challenged by the opposite number 15 in their own half of the field, Galway. That was Damien Hayes. and the referee felt that Damien Hayes was being fouled, and he's giving a free to Galway. Hogan protested. He says, "What, me?"
Yeah, definitely he swung him around. Maybe, you know, 6 and 1.5 doesn't know, but that's definitely a foul. The referee will always give that. You see it there, Richie used to push him to the ground, and
A few metres outside the Kilkenny 65-metre line. There you go. That's where he is. Now, it's dropping over the crossbar. It's a goal and 3 points for Joe Canning. Niall Burke with 2 points. And although it's early days, almost 16 minutes gone, but Joe Canning is becoming the central figure.
yeah, that was a great free mark.
12 seconds gone in the first half. The All-Ireland champions yet to score. Here is Cyril Donlan on the run. He hits it, and it's left and wide. Tickets into this Leinster hurling final so far. Entertainment in terms of the skill of Galway. Kilkenny unable to cope so far. And the scoreline of almost 17 minutes gone in Kilkenny.
If Galway's fitness will hold out, and they're certainly putting up a major challenge to Kilkenny.
Centre half back Niall Burke knocks it back for his Damien Hayes under a bit of pressure. Has to get it. Hogan is the central defender for Kilkenny. Comes out for his Johnny Cohen. Swings it over to the opposite side. Over towards the Hogan stand. A race for possession. Going down, lovely stick work again. This time by Conor Cooney. St. Thomas's man, All-Ireland minor medalist 2 years ago. Gives it back to David Collins, the right corner back. He's been out all season, and he rarely scores, but he does it in Croke Park in a Leinster hurling final, which is becoming more than just interesting.
Well, Marty, you look up at the clock, almost 80 minutes gone and no score for Kilkenny on the board, and the only chance they had was a free from Henry Shefflin. But this is, you know, the type of play that Galway are playing. Short ball, committing Kilkenny to one-on-ones, and they're winning that battle hands down.
Sent back by the captain of Galway, Fergal Moore. Kilkenny, however, survived this particular onslaught. It's Richie Hogan sending it down towards Finlay. The good, hard-working Johnny Cohen takes the shoulder. Straight on from Richie Power. Joe Canning back fires Johnny Cohen. Light on the feet, but strong in terms of the physical strength. The referee's whistle is blown at the moment. This is not supposed to be happening.
They're not used to this, Marty.
They're not used to it. Ball comes down. Tapped down by Richie Power. Tony O'Regan is protesting vehemently. And as a result of the protest, there's an extra 13 metres. He's explaining to the Henry Shefflin. 19.5 minutes gone in this Leinster final. And that's the very first score for Kilkenny. There was lovely skill here from Richie Power, but the jersey pull was there. We can see. Ball comes out for his Latanya. Rebounds over for his Neil Dunham. Flick on as far as Andy Smith. Made his championship debut in 2008 against Laois. Sliding along the ground, almost grabbing it is Cyril Donlan. He has it now. Away he goes. Trying to look to see if anybody's inside. Difficult enough angle. Hovering over here is David Burke. Ball breaks free from Tommy Walsh. Doesn't concede the 65. Look where Richie Hogan is. Playing almost a right corner back in an effort to try and get possession for the Cats. Henry Shefflin, Richie Power. Ball breaks free for his Latanya. Lovely little flick up. And he is beginning to blossom. Hits the shoulder of Owen Larkin. Joe Canning almost sandwiched by 2 Kilkenny Cats. And it comes back for Azir Latanya. Lays it off for his Donlan. Donlan from Gurteen, Ballymacward in East Galway is fouled, and that is a
one-on-ones here. Massive possession, as you see.
Look at that statistic, Donald. 61% possession for Galway.
Well, Kilkenny one score in 19.5 minutes, Marty.
Joe Canning raises another white flag. That's a goal and 4 points as Brian Cody joined the Kilkenny attack. Further out the field, it seems to be that Galway are dominant. Colin Fennelly with that injury seems to be the source of their difficulty. Coming away with it is Damien Hayes. Lays it off. Farrell's Donlan. Donlan steadies. Donlan shoots. And Cyril Donlan scores. His first in this Leinster hurling final. Scored 1-1 against Westmeath, 3 against Offaly, and 1 against Kilkenny. And coming on is number 22, Aidan Fogarty from the Emeralds Club in Kilkenny. And going off is Colin Fennelly, who seemed to pick up an injury in the early stages.
Yeah, shipped a heavy tackle, but Kilkenny haven't got the grips at all with the roving Damien Hayes, and he's creating fierce problems for Kilkenny, getting onto a loaded ball and then using it very, very well. And that's the difference. Galway are using the ball.
Ball inside, Farrell's David Burke, knocking it down, he can score! Magnificent goal! Wow, what a shocker in Croke Park when you least expect it. Everybody thought Kilkenny were unbeatable. It's early, it's only 23 minutes in the first half, but look at the scoreline, and look at this for a cracking goal. David Burke, take it out, Galway.
Fantastic strike, Marty, but that's the whole thing. The ball is being used, they're coming off the defenders very, very well, and they're getting the ball then. There's no aimless balls being struck in, and you know, when you look at the scoreline, 2-8 to a point, if you walked in, you think that the scoreboard was wrong, that Kilkenny should be up, and Galway really giving Kilkenny a lesson today.
Henry Shefflin coming in to get first clean ball. Right beside him is the Andy Smith, Damien Hayes, Cyril Donnelly. Lovely little flick up, and look at the hard shoulder on Paul Murphy. 4 Galway players around one Kilkenny man. Can Kilkenny get to terms with this challenge? Owen Larkin back quickly for his Killian Buckley, gives the ball in fast and furious, but it's a Galway man that's there. Johnny Cohen, he certainly has a great engine because he's been everywhere so far. The ball is deflected. It is one and only Tangen. Flicks it forward, he's run out of ground, and that's a slither in the middle of that scramble. Richie Power is there with the green and gold helmet, but coming away with it is Collins. Loses possession, however, and it's a free for Kilkenny as Richie Hogan is to a very happy face. Must be the only Kilkenny man that's happy at the moment, I'd say, as Henry Shefflin takes the free, and that is going left and wide. Ball goes down Farrell's, the aforementioned Paddy Hogan goes long. Good hands again by Johnny Cohen. He's like a vacuum cleaner back there. He's sweeping up everything. Gives it to Tony O'Regan, son of Horse. The Horse Reagan will be proud of the son this afternoon if they maintain this. Tommy Walsh gathers, has to send it low. Good call by Walsh. Kilkenny use the fast ball in, and again it's Johnny Cohen. Almost miscued it, but going back there is his captain, Fergal Moore. Turlock Moorman goes long as Galway continue to try and put the pressure on this Kilkenny defence. The linesman. Joe Canning gives it back for his David Burke, and he hits it sweetly, beautifully inside the post. It's a goal and a point for David Burke, captain of the minor team, beaten by Kilkenny in the All-Ireland final of 2008, but this will gain some bit of revenge. Wonderful score.
Great score there from David Burke, but you know, audacious little sideline to him, but you think Kilkenny will be looking for that.
TJ Reid leaves it off first. Killian Buckley takes on the challenge, trying to break down this Galway defence. Comes back outside first. Hogan, hard-working Richie back there as well. It's Richie Hogan, and it's Galway to come away with it. The ball bobbling all over the place. It's David Collins, gives it long. 1-on-1 between Hogan and Niall Burke. Nipping in, however, laying it off first. The number 22 is Aidan Fogarty, operating around the half-forward line. Fogarty goes for a score, and the umpire says it's wide.
I think at one stage, and you know, I think they had it in their mind to look for goals, but you know, points will do them still. Points maybe back on the board, and because if they're going to try and go for goals to the massed Galway defence, well, they'll be setting things up for the defence.
Comes back fires Brian Hogan, goes long. It's 2 against 1 up here. Back there is Johnny Cohen. Henry Shefflin's moved in full forward, a tactic we've seen so many times in the past. Coming away with it is Fergal Moore, twice an All-Ireland minor winner in 1999 and 2000. Are these players finally beginning to blossom to senior level? Ball breaks kindly for Cyril Donlan. He's already scored once in this first half, trying to make an angle for himself. He's going for it again. Is it good enough? It is beautiful. It is Cyril Donlan with his second point, and look at the scoreboard on your television screens. 28 minutes, almost 29. Galway 2-10, Kilkenny 1 point. The point from a free by Henry Shefflin after 19 and a half minutes. Richie Power from the middle of the field drives it in. Gathering it is the goalkeeper, James Scahill. This is a Galway defence that conceded 7 goals, 27 points to Westmeath and Offaly. They have now kept the Leinster and All-Ireland champions virtually scoreless.
That normally launches attacks for Kilkenny, but they're finding it very, very difficult to get anything from Galway here.
Sideline cut from Tommy Walsh comes straight to Joe Canning. Nice ball inside to Cyril Donlan, who's now taken up residence at the edge of the square. Trying to keep him out is Noel Hickey. Difficult angle for Donlan. Not difficult at all is his response. It's his third point of the first half. 3 against Offaly, 3 against Kilkenny.
Well, you know, Kilkenny looked, badly rattled. Marty and Tommy Walsh there with a sideline that he took straight across the field to Joe Canning, and there was one target inside, that was Cyril Donlan, and he has the legs of Noel Hickey, and that's been very profitable for Galway so far. 3 points from Cyril Donlan, and they're going very, very well.
Galway have scored 2 goals and 11 points. 2 goals and 7 of that total is coming from play. It's Richie Hogan. Lovely balanced hurler. Had the vision to see Richie Power on the 45-metre line, and he raises Kilkenny's second white flag of the afternoon. It's their second point. The first after 19.5 minutes, their second after over half an hour, almost 31 minutes.
Yeah, but Richie Power is playing out centre forward now. Henry Shefflin inside, full forward, and Richie Hogan on the left, and Aidan Fogarty's playing out around the middle of the field to try and counter.
Temporarily at least, still very cloudy overhead. Tommy Walsh going to take this sideline ball into the centre. Again, it's almost like a repeat of the last time. Joe Canning with a beautiful stroke of a ball, sends it between the posts. It is fantastic. What a score by Joe Canning. It's the second time. It's almost as if we were looking at the video in replay.
Well, Marty, when there's a meltdown, there's a complete meltdown, and that was the second time you'd think that he'd knock it down the wing, because that's normally what you try and do for defensive sidelines, knock them down the wing, put them into the corners, but of course Kilkenny have nobody down in that right corner.
Body language looks like he's just going to take his point. That's exactly what he does.
Well, this is a crucial time now, Marty, 3 or 4 minutes before half-time, so it is for Galway to keep their challenge going, keep you defence. Oh, Tommy Walsh. It must have been the hurling try number 3.
And the referee is going to give a throw ball here because he missed it. There was a fresh air there. Still comes to Kilkenny. Johnny Cohen sends it down the wing, and again it's a sideline ball.
You think that they try and operate over to the left to Richie Hogan or straight into Henry Shefflin?
Killian Buckley's sideline ball came to Richie Power, but he loses possession, gets up on his feet and takes it, but he fouls the Galway man. Referee James McGrath is pointing to Richie Power for that. To be honest with you, we didn't really expect, because Galway, having lost so heavily to Kilkenny in the league, torpedoed 2-12 to 3 points, and Kilkenny beaten, particularly around midfield. Galway dominant in the half-back line, and Johnny Cohen very vigilant. Good work here by Kevin Hines. Not a natural fullback, but doing well. But losing out this time to Richie Power. Tony O'Gregan.
No pressure whatsoever on Kevin Hines, who's a converted fullback at the best.
Henry Shefflin taps it over the bar for his third. And Kilkenny's fourth. From Capitago. Saw him play under 21 hurling over the last number of years, and it was really outstanding, particularly in the All-Ireland semi-final against Clare 2 or 3 years ago. Ball breaks out for Richie Doyle. It's 2 against 1, but the 1 is Henry Shefflin. Ball breaks free, and again it's Johnny Cohen. Outside him was Niall Donoghue, but he goes for distance. Slips off the fingertips of Sims. Was good, but he had made a miss of it. 1 minute of additional time in this first half. And again, it's Johnny Cohen. Takes his eye off it this time. David Collins recovers. What a point he scored in this first half. The right corner back from half-back. Michael Rice getting on the ball, laying it off versus captain Owen Larkin, trying to get inside the cover of Collins. It's Larkin, hand passing it inside, great ball. There's danger here for Galway, and a chance for Kilkenny, and the goalkeeper comes charging out. It's Scahill, he's a big man. 6'5", he stood on the ground. That's the man from Capitago. And again there is the clenched fist, and the save by James Scahill signals the half-time whistle being blown by the referee from Westmeath, James McGrath. Brian Cody will be happy to get his team into the dressing room at half-time.
Gerlach Nan, Tomas McCahey here with me in studio. Liam, in the chat before the match, you said the days of thumping the tables and banging the walls were gone in hurling. I suspect there's a few tables being thumped in the Kilkenny dressing room at the moment.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't have foreseen this. I mean, Galway have just been started in the blaze of glory, and it's been non-stop. I mean, Kilkenny, it took them 20 minutes to get a score. It took them 30 minutes to get a point from play. It's just
1 point from play.
Yeah, some of the statistics we're seeing here are unheard of. But you know, I think really, in fairness to Galway, they have their homework done. You know, there's been 18 puck outs from the Kilkenny goalie David Herty, and not one of them has been caught cleanly by Kilkenny, and that's not a statistic you'd normally see in a Kilkenny team. They're just being beaten all over the field, and it's very, very unusual. It's going to be it's really hard to see them coming back from the position they find themselves in at half time here.
Again, Ger, in our pre-match chat, I posed the issue to you: should Galway try and outmuscle them today?
Yeah.
And you said you need the skill as well as the muscle.
And they have the skill and the muscle, because you know, we don't usually put the two words Kilkenny and meltdown in the one sentence, but that's exactly what it is today. And the reason for it is because tactically Galway are playing a brilliant game, and there were hints of this against Offaly. They've withdrawn that half forward line away out the midfield. Even their full forward line are far out. So the whole mid-third of the field is completely crowded. And then they said to themselves, right, we'll play them at their own game. We'll tear into them just as hard as they're tearing into us. We'll hook and we'll block, we'll win the ball, and we'll give. And when they win it, they're using it really intelligently. They're giving it to a man who's running from midfield, he's loose, and they're scoring the long-range points. That's where most of the points have come, is from long range. The one goal came from close in, everything else is coming from long range. So tactically, Cunningham has got it absolutely right, but more important than that, nobody suspected that there was this kind of heart, this kind of determination in Galway, and it's as if they're making up for all of the hurt of the last few years, you know, that this is their day, and it's very hard to see them losing that grip now.
Well, they're certainly well in command at this stage. The start was brilliant by Galway, and when you add on top of that then, Tomas, a goal by somebody like Joe Canning that really lifted the crowd that's here.
Yeah, and John mentioned, you know, I mean, this is kind of when Damien Hayes around the middle of the park, right? And
1-1, or call the number on screen.
Welcome back to the second half, and straight from the throw in, it is Cyril Donlan that gets his 4th point of the game. Remarkable stuff, and it is so important from a Galway perspective, when you're playing this great Kilkenny team, who are in trouble no doubt, that you maintain your concentration. A point at the start of the second half, huge psychological boost.
Yeah, great score, because you want to start as you finish, Marty, and Cyril Donlan.
In his 7th championship season. Just getting a little touch there was Richie Doyle. The umpire is adamant that went off the Galway man last, to his credit. So this is a chance for Joe Canning, who scored a goal and 5 points in the first half. Cracking goal after just 2.5 minutes. Hits it, but it's tailing left and wide. That is only Galway's 5th wide of the game. They had just 4 in the first half. Everything was going over. And as the lads were saying at half-time in the analysis, Donald mentioned here as well about meltdown. Surely Henry Shefflin was being held back. Eventually there's a free given to Henry Shefflin, but to be honest with you, I can concur with Henry's thoughts. It was clear foul. Look at the holding there by Kevin Hines. But referee finally giving the decision to the black and amber. Taking his point. His 4th of the match. Change things around, or just hope that Kevin Hines doesn't foul for a second time. Loose ball picked up by Michael Rice. Hand pass intercepted clearly by Joe Canning. Back there again is Jackie Tyrrell. Head down, ball in hand. Sideline ball given to Galway. And once again, it's Joe Canning.
Yeah, and Galway are being very, very forceful. They're not allowing the Kilkenny defenders out as easy as they normally get, and Jackie Tyrrell, they've targeted him particularly.
Twice an All-Ireland minor medalist, twice an under-21 All-Ireland medalist. This one is one. Loose ball, Johnny Cohen puts in the hurl. Centre half forward is TJ Reid. Breaking ball comes out, knocked off a Galway man. Picked up by Niall Dinoh. Kilbakenty. The Kilbakenty man fouled the possession, and that's
will be asked, and you know, a little bit of doubts coming to Galway play, and that will all suit Kilkenny.
Free taken by Paul Murphy. Galway come away with it with Andy Smith. Laying it up. Farah Sildon scored 4 wonderful points in the first half. Sweeps it over towards Damien Hayes. He carried a little bit too much strength. Hayes gets there. It's a straight pull, but back there is Tommy Walsh, unmarked. Has the time and the composure to drive it long. Given a bit of verbal abuse by a colleague, he should have gone short. It's not often you have that happen in a match that somebody goes out to Tommy. Once again, it's Michael Rice. Survives the initial challenge. Uses the short grip. Sends a ball in. And that is going over the bar. Michael Rice, is he the man to show them the way back into the game?
Yeah, fine score by Michael Rice there, you know, a very forceful player, and obviously himself and Michael Fennelly are the top choice Kilkenny midfielders, and Michael Fennelly's been lost. His loss has been felt in a big way today.
Puck out by James Skehill. Loose ball picked up this time by Killian Buckley. Played at left half forward in the league final. Batted away. Good call by Richie Doyle. Sends it out to the wing. A race for possession. Moore. It's Collins. Goes back to sweep up. Goes back first to centre half back Tony O'Gregan. Comes for his centre half forward Niall Burke. 2 good points so far in this championship. A lovely diagonal ball. 2 Portumna lads going for it, and it's Canning. Smith is outside. Canning looks around. He floats one in, and it's a very dangerous ball cut out this time by Tommy Walsh, as Canning tried to create an opportunity for his club and county mate Damien Hayes. Johnny Cohen beaten on this occasion by the Kilkenny captain. It's in fact Aidan Fogarty.
Kenny an extra little bit of heart.
Loose ball again. Rice shouldered off it by Damien Hayes. Galway with possession. Sending it low as the goal scorer, David Burke. Andy Smith a little bit too fancy. Easily put out by Brian Hogan. There's a little bit of afters between Hogan and David Burke, but they continue on. Down at the other end, it's Henry Shefflin battling hard. Fergal Moore is there, and it is Tony O'Gregan charging forward in the middle of the field. I haven't actually ever seen Regan do this. Great work by the centre back, and TJ Reid dispossesses it. Sends it low along the surface towards Richie Power. Good work by Owen Larkin. It's Larkin with a little bit of help coming from TJ Reid. Good work by the captain, showing a little bit of inspiration. Has to go back to try and maintain possession. Little step inside from Killian Buckley. Floats one in high. 2 against 2. Power at the end of it. Inside the large rectangle. There too is Fergal Moore. It's a chance for Kilkenny! Brilliantly struck home. And Kilkenny rejoice in Croke Park.
Well, if you watch Marty, you know, the Galway fullback got caught in front of Richie Power. Richie Power went up and just parted to Richie Hogan on his own, and he stuck it. Watch it then, came in from behind him, came in behind Fergal Moore. Kevin Hines then was caught picking up Henry Shefflin and Richie Hogan free and buried it. And you know, Kilkenny have played much better since the change of halves, and certainly you know, we saw little mistakes by Galway. Tony O'Gregan making a 60-yard run when he could have struck it, and they lost the ball, and bit by bit they're inviting Kilkenny onto them.
Kilkenny back in business. A goal after 44 minutes by Richie Hogan. David Collins, Kilkenny now showing a bit of intensity. Stepping aside from the challenge is Damien Hayes. All-Star hurler 2005. The pass inside was not a good one. Comes to David Burke. 1-1 in the first half. Great stick work. Blocked superbly. He has it again as he was falling down. What a fabulous piece of skill by David Burke. He's now scored a goal and 2 points. A magnificent goal in the first half, but watch the skill, watch the stick work, the balance. This shouldn't have been a score, but look at that, beautiful.
Great score, Marty, well, and that will get the crowd on their feet.
Back it comes to Neil Donoghue, sending it up long, gathered this time by Owen Larkin. Left half forward on his back, left half back in reality, trying to create chances. Tony O'Gregan, Henry Shefflin, knocked away by Kevin Hines. Comes out for his Richie Power. Hand pass over to Michael Rice. He's already scored a point. He's throwing the slither up into the air, hitting it high, but it's left and wide for Kilkenny.
Every chance that Kilkenny get now is vital to their cause.
Tuck out by James Skehill. Joe Cannon. Hogan with it. Was Canning fouled? The referee thought so. There's a free in for Galway. Fully concentrated. It's Joe Canning. Takes nothing for granted and puts it over the bar. It's still a very impressive scoreline if you're from Galway. And it's a daunting task, even for a great side. The All-Ireland champions, Leinster champions, Kilkenny, and Galway go forward again. It's Burke being held by Noel Hickey. One of them, two of them. Play continues. Burke is a hard grafter. Scored a fantastic point that I'll talk about for a long time. Ball inside. It's a poor one to Paul Murphy. In comes Andy Smith. Ball breaks free for Cyril Donnelly. Tries to get around. Hand passes it back outside. There's a flick on. There's Damien Hayes. First time pull. In towards the corner. As Galway retain possession. Canning. Lovely stick work. Dodges and dives. Then turns. Shoots. And is that a score or what? Joe Canning. They may talk to Joe Duffy on the radio, but you have to talk to Joe Canning when it comes to hurling of this quality. Magnificent.
Well, beautiful little shimmy there, right, and held the ball well, as every good forward does. You know, seems to play in slow motion, and a beautiful point to finish.
Puck out, comes down towards Johnny Cohen. He's had so much ball. It's hard to imagine.
You know, in the past he played a roving role and wasn't that effective, but highly effective against Duffy and against Dublin as well. So he's really in great form this season, and he's a thorn in Kilkenny sides all day.
Hard-working Brian Hogan getting away from Cyril Donnelly. Ball inside from Richie Hogan, cut out by Tony O'Gregan. Hand pass to Andy Smith is a poor one. Comes in with a hefty challenge on Hogan, but Hogan from in front of the sideline. Out comes the keeper, but Shefflin gets the touch. Henry makes it a goal and 4 points for him personally, and 2 goals and 6 points for Kilkenny. The complexion on the scoreboard is changing. Beautiful ball inside.
There didn't seem to be any danger there, right, and then the ball was given away and over to Richie Hogan. Tony O'Gregan would have been better maybe just to shepherd him down the line a bit. Went for the big shoulder, missed him, and beautiful cross. Shefflin, you know, the old head, the master up high and just knocked it into net. And now 10 points between them. You know, Galway still in the driving seat, Martin, but bit by bit, you know, Kilkenny are coming back to this game.
David Burke sends it into the centre. Here goes Damien Hayes, up again on his scooter to try and re-establish a better lead. It's Damien Hayes' first point in this Leinster final, and it's now 2-17 to 2-6. Lovely sweet ball by David Burke. Great vision. Here comes Hayes. Good engine, good score.
Great pace, Martin.
Comes down past Richie Power. Working hard. Big challenge by Andy Smith, being fouled. Ship to reduce their opponent's lead. And that is over the bar. A goal and 5. All the points coming from frees. 10 points between the teams. 20 minutes to go.
I just looked down there, Marty, and Damien Hayes has gone back now into a standard right corner forward position, almost full forward now, being marked by Noel Hickey, and that's a poor matchup for Kilkenny pace-wise. If the ball can go in, if Galway can get a bit of quality ball into him, he'll do reconcile there.
Brian Hogan. Niall Dunham hit a fair shoulder. First by Richie Power, then by Richie Hogan. Survived the 2 Richies to deliver the ball. Hogan again, rock solid. Looked like a frontal charge from Cyril Donnelly.
Because that's their style, but Galway are imposing their own style on Kilkenny today.
Free by David Howard, he drops it to the square. TJ Reid goes up, the ball comes loose. It's a scramble, comes back outside to Richie. Saved this time by James Scahill. Richie Hogan got a slight touch on it, and it goes out over the sideline. Over
his boot there, and if it had come a bit faster and a bit cleaner, maybe Richie Hogan might have stuck in the back of the net, but Galway survived.
Michael Rice, sideline cut into the middle. Donoghue tries to get a touch. It's Cohen again. Nipping across is Henry Shefflin. Lovely stick work. And Henry gets his first point from play. And Kilkenny remain very much alive.
Yeah, great example of forward play there. He had to adjust his stick to make sure he wasn't hooked. And another good point from Henry Shefflin, and his influence is growing in the game.
Galway changing. They're taking off Conor Cooney. And coming on is number 22. That's Jonathan Glenn. And Glenn immediately in the action. Quick layup. Michael Rice has made an impact, certainly since he was introduced. Great catch as Kilkenny show their character. Henry Shefflin taking his point. It's Johnny Cohen. Brian Cody believes that his team can still come back in this Leinster final. 16 minutes left on a dramatic day in Croke Park. And no matter where you are in the world, I have no doubt you're enjoying this. This is going to be...
There's 15 minutes left, and there's 8 points in it, but that's the dangerous thing when you're playing Kilkenny.
Henry Shefflin dropping it in again. The ball comes loose and picked up by Johnny Cohen. On far is Andy Smith. Little bit of misunderstanding between himself and his colleague. That happens to be Jonathan Glenn. Over first, Joe Canning in space. Trouble looming for Kilkenny. Canning puts it between the posts. It's a goal and 8 points for Joe Canning. A goal and 7 points for Henry Shefflin. There's not just a county battle, there's a personal battle in terms of the scoring stakes. Ball in for his Canning. He had the chance, he took it with aplomb.
And great vision from Johnny Glenn to pick him out.
Ball sent down by Hickey. Plenty of space for Henry Shefflin. In comes Tony Regan to challenge. Fair challenge is the referee. Henry on his knees. Ball is there loose. Scrappy, and it's Johnny Cohen again. They'll be writing songs about this guy if they win this Leinster title. Cohen to Andy Smith. Smith gives it long. Over for us Joe Canning, who Galway have given kind of a little bit more of a free roll, taking on Paul Murphy. The 24-year-old is hard to stop. It takes 2 men to stop him, and even then he wins a free. And Joe Canning is trying to inspire. It's Joe Canning steadying the ship just when the few leaks were being exposed at the other end. He registers his 9th point. 1-0. Who won several All-Ireland medals with Kilkenny. TJ Reid, who scored a wonderful goal against Dublin, is the player going off. David Collins. Back to Johnny Cohen. Johnny goes long. Paul Murphy comes forward. Survives the first challenge. Gives it long. Dangerous ball. Owen Larkin underneath it. Ball comes free. Pulled on first down. And James Skettle stands his ground and comes away with a sliotar and drives it long. Joe Canning. Hefty challenge. Surely that was a foul. He ended up injured himself. Coming away with it with the sliotar in the hand is Cyril Donlan. Lays it off inside for his James Regan. Won back superbly by Jackie Tyrrell. Goes long. Tries to get Richie Parr. Comes in just at the right, well, almost the right time. Ball batted down for his Andy Smith. A crossfield ball, but it just didn't work. David Herity comes off his goal line. Gets there ahead of James Regan. Farrell's Jackie Tyrrell. Jackie goes for distance. Long ball again. Big Tony O'Gregan is behind it. So too is Kevin Hines. Great catch by Tommy Walsh. Was undecided what exactly to do with the ball. Gives it instead for his Richie Power. Richie goes for the score. It has the legs, it has the power, and it has the accuracy. 2nd point for Richie Power. 9 points between the teams.
Well, great play up and down the field there, Marty. Both sides, great credit due to both sides there, right? And ball coming eventually to Richie Power, and he stuck it over the bar. But Galway very unlucky there with that crossfield pass to James Regan. If he had got it, he was in for a goal, the former minor. He's a very direct runner, and he'll give a bit of impetus there now too.
Aidan Fogarty's ball inside is escorted little back in 1983. He's been successful with St. Bridget's and Roscommon, with Gary Castle and Westmeath. Is it possible that he's going to guide Galway to their very first historic Leinster title? Just about 11 minutes on the clock. Still plenty of time. Gathering the ball in his hand is Jonathan Glenn. Gives it into the centre to David Burke. 1-2 behind his name. Ball drops into David Herity. Survives the initial challenge. Gives it to Jackie Tyrrell. Jackie, All-Ireland under-21 captain in 2003 to beat Galway. Knocked down by Johnny Cohen. It's Kilkenny to try and retain possession. Killian Buckley trying to set up Owen Larkin. Instead it comes to Canning. Quick ball inside towards Damien Hayes. Ball skids off the surface. Kilkenny man without a hurl. It's Brian Hogan that has the hurl. Sends it back long. Batted down by David Burke, cleverly to Joe Canning, who clearly called. In the middle of the pitch, he drives the sliotar long, and David Herity broke back. A pulsating match.
Well,
hard to believe what happened in the first half.
10 minutes to go now, Marty, and Galway 9 points up. You know, it's within themselves to close out the game, and Joe Canning coming way out the field now, winning another ball, and you know, they're making sure they're just playing 2 inside forwards, or just 1 at times, and that's causing Kilkenny huge problems. And from this point of view, we'd be expecting Galway to go ahead and win it.
Change in the Galway team. Niall Burke looks to be the man that's coming off, and Tadhg Harron coming on. So number 25, Tadhg Harron is on from the Liam Mellows club in Galway City. And going off is Niall Burke, who really started well and has really given his all. A little wink, but perhaps the job is almost there. Yeah, but when you're playing Kilkenny, Tony, you're never sure.
Yeah, but he went down about 5 minutes ago there, Marty, and seemed to be affected by a leg injury, so maybe that's the reason for him coming off.
Joe Canning dropping this right and wide. Well, back in 2010, when they last met in the Leinster final, and first and only time, there was 31,376. 22,171 in Croke Park. To witness potential, history. Here is Cyril Dunn. 4 points he scored in the first half. Oh, it hits off the top of the post. Comes back, umpire signals wide. Puck out quickly taken by David Herity. Referee's whistle is blown. He said the puck out was taken too quickly, and it's going to be taken again. Brian Cody talks to Mick Dempsey. Is there another change about to happen? Pulled on first time by Tony O'Gregan. Tadhg Harron gets his first touch, and potentially a second. Nipping in, however, is James Regan. The substitutes are working hard. Lovely stick work by Regan. He knows he's going to be hooked if he tries the shot. Stepping up, however, to the mark is Tommy Walsh. Drives it long. In far is Killian Buckley. Dicks for a man. Stepping by the challenge. Low ball inside towards Richie Power. But again, it dribbles along the surface. Skehill's puck out. Batted down by the Galway team that is really playing with tremendous passion. But that's play. 7 minutes to go. 9 points between the teams. At half-time, there was an 18-point gap. But the All-Ireland champions have responded. Despite the loss of Michael Finlay in the league final, what a loss he has been. Kilkenny's passion and heart once again to the fore. But you cannot even afford to miss players like Michael Finlay, as there's a bit of afters going on here between Aidan Fogarty and David Burke. But Finlay's loss is huge, Don.
Well, you know, hurler of the year last year. You know, I've often said a box-to-box player, fella who's back in his own 13-metre line defending 1 minute. He's back up in the opposing 13-metre line. You know, the next minute he's a huge player, and you know, he'd be a loss to any team. And I suppose Kilkenny, after the double match, felt that, you know, Killian Buckley and Paddy Hogan did.
2:19, 2:11, 6 minutes left. And who has the sliotar here? It's Jonathan Then. Taken superbly by Cyril Donlan. Dropping it in, but it's well to the right and wide. That is 11 wides for Galway in this match.
Yeah, that's about the 5th wide mark in the last 5 minutes. And, you know, if they had got 1 or 2 of those, the match was closed out.
Loose ball comes far as Killian Buckley. David Collins in close attention. Flicking one into the centre. There's trouble here for Galway. Good blocking down. Matthew Root had an opportunity. Comes out past Neil Donoghue. The referee's whistle is blown. And I'm not too sure what he's giving here, to be honest with you.
To Kilkenny. And he's giving a throw in.
Throw ball, in fact. Andy Smith was asking what happened, and he grabs the sliotar and comes away with it. Pumps it down. The wing. Tadhg Harron. Noel Hickey with it. Harron. Aware of the challenge coming in. Referee's whistle is blown. Said he took too much out of it. Free to Kilkenny. There is a nervousness in the Galway camp, one senses, despite having that 8-point advantage. Silly mistakes just being made at the moment. Perhaps Damien Hayes can engineer a little bit of space for Joe Canning. chased by Paul Murphy. Kenny on the ground, trying to hold on. Murphy coming in to challenge. Cyril Donlan, tenacious as always, getting by Brian Hogan, knocked off the hurl.
Marty, and that's all they're trying to do at this stage, is to kill the game.
And Joe Cannon takes it short, as far as Ty Karen. Well won back by Noel Hickey. As far as Jackie Tyrrell. Andy Cohen going to backtrack, but Tony O'Gregan says he'll take care of it. Gets by the initial challenge. Floats one in. It's a good ball. Jonathan Glenn gets it almost second time. Killian Buckley, Brian Hogan. It's Hogan under pressure. Back there is Damien Hayes. Named at left corner forward, but roaming all over the place since 4 o'clock this afternoon. Nice hook by Fergal Moore. Ball slips off his fingertips over the sideline. Sideline ball for Kilkenny. 68 minutes gone. 8 points between the teams. Surely this is history in the making. Surely Galway can hold on for their very first Leinster title in what undoubtedly has to be the shock of 2012. Going back down, Jackie Tyrrell confronted by James Regan. Goes long, Brian Hogan. And there's a chance here for Matthew Root. Takes a shot, and it skids off the surface for the first 19 and a half minutes. Tony O'Gregan, short puck out, 2 minutes of additional time. The fresh legs of James Regan. Looking outside is Cyril Donlan. Donlan calls for it. Gathers it second time round. Steps inside the challenge. Can he score from there? Yes, he can. It's Father Lynn, says Cyril Donlan, for his 5th point of the match. And surely now, the Bob O'Keefe Cup, for the very first time in the GA's history, in the Leinster's history of wonderful hurling, it's going across to Shannon, back to Galway for the very first time. Owen Larkin brings it forward. Galway thinking about introducing another sub. Larkin floats one in. There's a connection. Our last man to touch it was a Kilkenny man, and that goes out over the end line. Galway now going to bring in Joseph Cooney, son of legendary Joe Cooney from the Sarsfields Club around Bullen and Ewan. They love their hurling. Played right half back. Going off is 5-point scorer Cyril Donlan from the Porrick Pearsons Club around Gurteen and Ballymackworth in East Galway.
I think he epitomised the effort today, Marty. He's been very, very good from the start, as I said, Tony O'Regan and Damien Hayes as well as Joe Canning. They've been excellent, and they've brought the fight to Kilkenny from the start.
Joseph Cooney immediately into the action. Slither in hand. Out to way first, Damien Hayes flicks it forward. Scored only 1 point, but what a hero for Galway this afternoon in Joe Canning. Taps it over, and for the very first time, Joe Canning shows a little bit of emotion because he knows the cup is heading westwards.
And you would have to say, Marty, from the very start, you know, we saw a new Joe Canning, extremely fit, huge work rate all day, like, as well as the scores, and that is something that he hasn't always shown, but brilliant today.
Going back to gather is Paul Murphy. Ball comes for us, Andy Smith. Stepping away from Owen Larkin. Sending a diagonal ball, but there's nobody there except David Herity, goalkeeper. 72 minutes played in Croke Park on a day when we expected Kilkenny to win. But you are watching on RTE Live the Sunday game, history being made, because for the very first time since the GA was founded in 1884, the Bob O'Keefe Cup, commemorating a man that was a native of Kilkenny, that won in All-Ireland with Laois and was a former president, is going back, going for the first time westwards across the Shannon. The Volvo Ocean Race may be over in Galway, the ships may be gone out, but there's a new ship coming into port, and on it will be the name Bob O'Keefe. It is an emotional day for anybody who loves Galway hurling, a historic day, and you've watched it here.
Tremendous day, and from the start, Marty, they took the game to Kilkenny, completely unhinged them, and I think great tactics. They had just one-on-one inside the 20-metre line, and you know, they picked the players out when they were in possession. There was no aimless striking the ball like Galway teams of the past. Everything was done in measured tones, and you know, great credit going to Anthony Cunningham, and great credit going to the players, every one of them, and particularly their defence. They stay with the Kilkenny players, Owen Larkin, TJ Reid, right, completely stuffed out of it, and you know, once they got to half-time, while the game was won, and you know, bit by bit they strangled Kilkenny, and they won by 10 points and fully deserved in the end.
For Galway people all over the world, like Orla Callahan, daughter. Here it is. This is history. This is something special. It's never been seen before since the